Have you ever woken up from a dream and just thought, where on earth did my brain come up with that? You know, the bizarre, the totally surreal, sometimes nonsensical stories that our minds cook up at night. It's one of life's biggest mysteries, right? But what if I told you it's not just random chaos? That it's actually a highly creative and maybe even purposeful process? Well, let's find out how.
To get us started, I've got a little creative challenge for you. Take a look at these 5 words. How would you connect them, all of them, into a single coherent story?
Okay, the words are suitcase, naked, passport, guard, and court. I mean, they seem completely unrelated, don't they? This is actually a classic writer's exercise. It's designed to force your mind to dig deep and find these hidden connections between ideas that, on the surface, have absolutely nothing in common. It's a real test of creative linkage.
And here's the really cool part. That little word game is a perfect analogy for what your brain is up to every single night. It takes all these disconnected memories, feelings, and stray ideas from your life, and it tries to weave them all into a story. This is the very essence of dreaming.
And listen, this isn't just a neat little comparison. It's actually backed by science. There's a framework for understanding the mind that says dream creation isn't just random noise. No, it's an active process of linking different bits and pieces of our memory together. The key difference? Well, in dreams, the rules for making those connections are way more flexible, free and loose.
So, how does our brain become this, surrealist storyteller every night? Well, it all comes down to the 2 fundamental ingredients it has to work with, the actual building blocks of our thoughts, whether we're awake or fast asleep.
Think of your mind as having 2 kinds of material to build with. First, you've got your consolidated meanings. These are like the heavy, stable anchors of your thought. And then you've got your residual meanings. These are the light, floating fragments of recent experience. Let's break down what each one does.
So first up are the anchors. This is the stuff you just know. It's your name, the fact that a key opens a door, the layout of your childhood home. They're your solid, reliable, long-term memories. They provide the structural skeleton for all of your thought. The second ingredient is way more fluid. These are the floaters, or residual meanings. Just think of them as the little leftover bits and pieces from your day. A color that caught your eye, a passing feeling of annoyance, a line from a song you heard in the car. They're not locked down yet. They're like free agents, ready to attach to almost any idea or context. Okay, so we have our ingredients, the stable anchors and the free-floating floaters. The real magic, and let's be honest, all the weirdness of dreams comes down to the completely different set of rules the brain uses to combine them when we're asleep. So it seems like building a dream happens in 2 stages. First, a wave of energy in the brain just lights up a whole collection of memories, a mix of both those solid anchors and the stray floaters. Then comes the creative part. The brain looks at all this activated stuff and starts trying to bind it together, to make a story out of it. And how it binds them is the whole secret. To really get this, let's imagine we could organize all of our memories on a kind of map. But this map doesn't show places, it shows ideas. And they're arranged by 2 simple things: how densely they're connected in our brain and how stable they are over time. Okay, so this map shows everything, from our most stable core memories all the way down to the most unstable, isolated little fragments of thought. Now, when you're awake and thinking logically, your brain is super efficient. It pretty much exclusively pulls from that top corner of reliable, stable facts. It's predictable. But in dreams, this is where it gets fun. The brain explores the entire map. It freely connects a stable core memory, like your first bike, with a fleeting emotion you felt yesterday. And that's the source of all that wonderful weirdness. Your dreaming brain is connecting ideas that your logical, waking brain would never even let in the same room, let alone the same story. So let's just put these 2 states of mind side by side. Waking thought, it's all about high logical constraints. It prioritizes those stable, consolidated memories to build a structured logical story. But the dream narrative? It's playing a totally different game. The constraints are low and emotional. It often gives priority to those floating residual fragments, connecting them symbolically to create some really surreal but meaningful imagery. So all of this leads to the big question: why?
Why does our brain spend its nights engaged in this wild, creative process? What's the point of all this surreal storytelling?
Well, it turns out this nightly exploration is doing some really important jobs. For one, it helps us integrate to Dave's experiences with the entire library of our life's memories. It could also spark creative solutions by building these totally unexpected bridges between ideas. And it helps us process our emotions, letting feelings connect to symbolic images in a safe internal space. So it turns out the so-called weirdness of your dreams is actually a feature, not a bug. It's your brain's way of thinking outside the box, literally outside the box of its own waking logic. This is why so many scientific breakthroughs, amazing works of art, and profound personal insights have been sparked by a dream. The process allows for creative leaps that are pretty much impossible when we're awake.
So, the next time you wake up from a particularly strange dream, don't just dismiss it. Get curious. Ask yourself, what distant ideas, what leftover feelings, what forgotten memories was my mind trying to connect for me? The answer might just be the creative insight you've been looking for.